Hey friends, my name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Welcome to Monday Night Q&A. What? Forgot to do both things tonight. That's a new record. Not a new record. Happens way too often. When OBS is playing the intro and whatnot, I can't see this camera in OBS. So when I switch over on the Stream Deck to this camera, yeah. Hi guys! Tonight we are gonna make a third 1.4 inch build out of a Happy Model rig this time. So we are going to have a newbie drone, a beta FPV, and a Happy Model 1.4 inch freestyle builds, all of which slightly different weights, 3 different motors, beta FPV, newbie drone, Happy Model motors, and 3 different weights, which is what I'm the most kind of interested in right now. The beta FPV Meteor 65 Pro frame is the only frame that you can swing these 1.4 inch props with. And the frame is a little bit heavier than the cockroach frames that I really like and most folks really dig. And then the propellers are a little bit bigger and a little bit heavier. And so I hadn't tried... so I'd tried the 1.4 inch props twice in the past. Once on 802 motors, and it made everything way too heavy, and the runtimes were just awful. Next with 0603s, which are a little bit lighter, but 0603. That is a 2-to-1 ratio of width to height. That's a motor that ratio of width to height, everywhere else in FPV, when we've tested it, the motor gets too hot. It's not wide enough to have enough of the bell in the airflow to stay cool. Even though with tiny whoop motors, we can never touch them and feel any motor heat, they're still there. I'm sure that there is motor heat there, right? And so, like, even though we can't feel the 0603s getting too hot, they certainly perform like they're getting too hot, and the runtime sucked on that setup as well. I was sure that 0702s would be too small of a motor for these 1.4 inch props. I was wrong. The Gem Fan. So what kicked this all off is HQ put out a new 1.4 inch prop, which is the one. Is that it? Yeah, 1.4 by 1.1 by 3. This tri-blade here. And that, like, inspired me to dive back in to test this size propeller. And I had a few of the Meteor 65 Pro frames kicking around. This prop is ever so slightly too heavy for the 0702s. The propeller that I like more is the Gem Fan 35mm S. 35mm 2-blade. It comes in this radioactive green and smoke crotch gray. With this propeller, bi-blades are lighter than tri-blades, right? And they're also less draggy, less blades, right? And with this prop, 0702s feel great. The response time is really, really good. It feels really light in the air. It feels awesome. It's pretty good with these HQ props. It's pretty good, but it's better with the Gem Fans. And I've been really blown away. And so I converted a couple of builds that, so this is the old school version 1, whatever, version 3.1, whatever you want to call it. NBD Race. The version 2 NBD Race was coming. So there was no reason for me to have the version 1 put together normally, so I dropped it into the 1.4 inch frame. Super lightweight, flies awesome, crazy power. This is a Beta FPV Air 65 with the 5-in-1 AIO. Same kind of deal. It was just sitting around, wasn't really getting flown. Dropped it into the 1.4 inch frame. Awesome, super fun. I'm actually going to put some propellers on it right now. So we've got NBD and Beta FPV covered. These are their lightest weight AIO, motor, canopy, camera, whatever, combos. This is as light as it gets with these two, and I think that's a key to this 1.4 inch rig working. Excuse me. Working, because we're gaining weight from the bigger frame and the bigger props. I think that the camera, canopy, AIO motors need to be really lightweight. Tonight we're going to test that. This is a Happy Model Mobula 6 2024 version 2 with the motor plugs. This is going to be the heaviest of these two builds, of these 3 builds now. And I'm super interested to see if this is going to be too heavy. Are we going to go, like, over the limit of how much, like, essentially, if these 1.4 inch builds get too heavy, the runtime is going to go to shit. The flight performance is going to be fine. They make plenty of power. but it's going to be a runtime issue, which is what has held me back from keeping 1.4-inch builds together in the past. So this will be super cool. I'm really excited to see what the deal is here. Oh, look, I just found some more of these Gem Fan props. So yeah, I'm really, really excited. This should be extra fun. And then we'll be able to test. We're also going to be testing here the 3 different motors, really. The Beta FPV 0702 27,000s, the Newbie Drone Hummingbird 0702 30,000s, and then I snagged a set of Weebleed Happy Model 0702 32,500 kV screamers. These will probably be close in power to the Beta FPV 0702 27,000s. The Newbie Drone 30,000s are absolutely absurd. They're just a crazy motor. The KVs that are stamped on these motors, you can only compare them within the brand. If you've got a Beta FP, if you're comparing a Beta FPV 702 27,000 to a 30,000, the 30,000 is going to make more power and more RPM. You cannot compare a Beta FPV motor to a Newbie Drone motor to a Happy Model motor to a VCI motor. These guys are all using different methods of measuring KV. And so really keep that in mind. Happy Model's KV numbers are really high. So like a Happy Model 40,000 kV motor makes similar power to the Newbie Drone 30,000 kV motors. That's how drastic the difference is in the way that these companies are measuring KV. It's kind of frustrating, if I'm honest. But there ain't a damn thing I can do about it, so here we are. The build that we're doing tonight is on 1.5mm motor shaft motors. These screamers from Weebleed are offered in 1mm motor shaft or 1.5mm motor shaft. These new HQ propellers, these new HQ tri-blades, they offer them in 1.5mm motor shaft, and I'm excited to try that tonight. Admittedly, I haven't had any durability issues with these two guys that are on 1mm motor shafts yet, but I haven't flown hundreds of batteries through them yet, so the durability problems will more than likely come. They weigh what all these other builds weigh that I bend 1mm motor shafts on after 100, 200 batteries. And so it's going to happen. Also, these Meteor 65 airframes are super squishy. Super squishy. And so that might hurt. That might help, to be honest. With how squishy the frame is, when I smash into stuff, it really depends, and I can't tell. It depends if the duct is super squishy, that's not good because it's going to push right into the propeller, and then that's going to push right into the motor shaft. If the frame itself is squishy, that's going to help because when it hits stuff, it's going to deflect up, and it's going to absorb the energy of the collision in this whole area, rather than just dumping it into the motor shaft and bending the motor shaft. As with like all of FPV, the motor shafts are 100% the first thing that dies. And so doing things to... The best thing that you can do for more durability in FPV is figure out a way to help the motor shafts live a longer life, because they're the things that they're what fails first and most often. And so it's like a weird kind of game to play of like, how do we sort of do that? Maybe this Meteor 65 airframe has the perfect mix of like squishiness and floppiness. Hey, this is also why carbon fiber braced or carbon fiber framed tiny whoops are brutal. You will go through so many motors. You will wreck so many motor shafts. Like you'll put fresh motors on it and you'll get like a few batteries before they start flying like ass because of all the abuse that motor shaft is taking. And so, yeah, invest in companies that invest in the stocks of companies that make motors, because you're gonna be buying a ton of replacement motors if you want that thing to run good. Which is weird, right? Because that, like, the reason that a lot of people think that they should go to a carbon fiber rig is so that they can PID tune it farther. But then the motor shafts get bent immediately, and then you have to back your tune way off, or the damn thing flies away. So you end up, like, kind of always having something, unless you never crash. In which case, why are you even flying? Just don't fly. If you're not gonna crash, just don't fly. But yeah, you end up having something that that you kind of can't crash, because when you do crash it, it costs you $10 a motor over and over and over and over and over again. I spent many months trying to make the carbon fiber frames work, because I was hook, line, and sinker. This is definitely better that we use carbon fiber frames for all of our bigger stuff. Why wouldn't they work? And there's a number of reasons that they sort of don't work. But if you just want something that's different, sure, okay, but don't expect it to perform any better. And quite honestly, it's going to perform quite a bit worse in most ways, unfortunately. Just swapping the on the 2 streams ago, I swapped this rig over to the HQ tri-blades for a second time, just to kind of check them out again. And it was the same sort of situation where they just don't feel as good as these Gemfan bi-blades. They're a little too heavy, I think. Hey, update on the live stream from yesterday, Sunday, with the newbie drone Hummingbird Race V2. I bricked it officially. I in 10 years of FPV, I've finally bricked something. I've literally never not been able to recover something that, like, a weird flashing situation happened on. But I now officially have. So I changed the name of yesterday's live stream to unbox it, fly it, crash it, tune it, and brick it. If you buy a version 2 race, do not do anything to the ESC configuration. Leave it completely alone. It comes with BlueJay 0.19 48 kilohertz, and it sounds like, from the conversation that I had with Newbie Drone last night after the stream, it sounds like either the 0.19 version of BlueJay is the only one that you can flash on there, and if you flash any other version, it bricks it, or they're using a specific version of the ESC firmware. It kind of doesn't matter. It kind of doesn't matter which is the case. Just don't connect to it in ESC configurator unless you absolutely have to. And if you do have to connect to it in ESC configurator, don't change the version. Just leave the version alone. Change the timing. Change the startup. The startup power. And just leave the rest of it alone. I literally have to mail it back to Newbie Drone. They got me a return label, and I literally need to. I figuratively need to mail it back to them, so that they can flash it, like, from scratch, essentially. I guess, because it is all the way bricked. Like, it will not connect to the computer or Betaflight or ESC configurator or anything. You put power to it, and it does the startup beeps, but then it just goes bananas. It is, like, all the way broken. So, yeah, that was a weird way to end the live stream last night, but at least we got to fly it, and we got to do a little bit of tuning, a little bit of upgrading, and to be totally honest, it's just like the old Newbie Drone Race. It is astoundingly lightweight, hysterically powerful, and, like, yeah, just a super hardcore racing rig. Should you buy it for freestyle? Probably not. But, like, at the same time, like, why not? It's gonna be the lightest weight freestyle build that you've got, which is kind of cool. You're absolutely gonna have to change the camera, change the canopy out. The canopy has a ton of up tilt, and it doesn't hold the camera all that well. So switching it out to like a Bri-Brain canopy is going to be like the first thing that you should do if you want to fly it for freestyle. But other than that, you're going to have a super lightweight, ridiculously powerful freestyle build. I guess you could make the argument that it's kind of too powerful. It makes all the power in the world. But that's fun. That's super fun. And that allows you to do a lot of like the absolutely ridiculous stuff that you see me do. It doesn't allow you, it just makes some of the ridiculous like off throttle momentum stuff easier because it's just got so much power there. That's going to make it really hard to fly though, especially in the house. If you're flying 65mm rigs at like a big location, it's going to be, the amount of power that it has is going to be great. It might be a little bit too lightweight though for bigger flying. It's not going to have that extra mass, that extra momentum. Something with that, like the Hummingbird V4, which is significantly heavier but has the same motors, so it's got the same amount of horsepower. This would actually probably be a better bet for like flying in a big spot. So yeah, the V2 race is awesome. Just make sure that you don't change the Blue Jay version. And I really do. It's super interesting for freestyle. It really is. But I think there aren't many people that are going to be able to handle the power to weight ratio. Like, no offense to anyone. It's just ridiculous. It's absolutely insane. Like, every single time that I've look, the original one, I kind of stopped flying it because it was too much. It was too light with too much power. Typically, when a rig is that light, I don't put motors that are that powerful on it because it's like it's mismatched and it's just too much for like a small indoor kind of situation, which is what the 65mm rigs do really, really well, right? But for racing, I mean, it's in the same way, kind of like a no-brainer. If you want a super competitive race build that you don't have to go totally down the rabbit hole, direct soldering, enameled winding material to infinitely small little pads, that's it. If you just want to buy a competitive race rig that can literally compete at the top, that's it. That's the one for you. And just, stay in Betaflight, don't dive into Blue Jay, and you'll be good to go. So yeah, really, really impressive build. I still, same thing as the first one. I can't believe that they're building a rig by hand with the motor wire setup that it's got. Like, that's bananas. That's absolutely bananas. So when I get it back, I will compare it. I didn't get a chance to last night before I bricked it. I will compare it to the Beta FPV Air 65 Champion Edition and the Hummingbird V4. I was really hoping to do that last night, but it didn't happen. So, yeah, there's that. There's your update. Not an update that I wanted to give. I was really hoping that I would be able to unbrick it, but no, Newbie asked me to send it back, and they said, yes, it's a bind and fly. Bind it and fly it. I was like, yep. I told him, I was like, look, what's really annoying is that I literally said about 60 seconds before I bricked the damn thing, nobody should do this. Just bind it and fly it. You paid for it to be a bind and fly. Bind it and fly it. And then I proved my point perfectly by bricking the damn thing. So that's the good part of this whole thing, is that I proved that point perfectly. Also, apparently, if you bought one of them, you got an email that said, for the love of God, don't upgrade the ESC. Just leave the ESC alone. So that's really good. But if I'm totally honest, they're gonna Newbie Drone is gonna have to spend a lot of time with this because this is a race specific rig, and the racers are very sensitive. Not all, but a lot of the racers are really sensitive to everything, and I guarantee you a whole bunch of racers are going to go in and update it from 0.19 to 0.21 because 0.19 was not a great version of Blu-ray. 0.19 had problems. 0.21 fixed some of those problems, and I actually prefer 0.16, and there is a hex of 0.16 for that chipset in that ESC ZH40, I think it was. And so yeah, their Newbie Drone is gonna, unfortunately, I have a feeling they're gonna get a lot of people that make the same mistake that I made yesterday, which is super annoying. But you know, yet again, in the pursuit for more and more and more and more and more performance, there's a cost. You know, there's always a cost, and this is it. This is the cost. We've got some wacky, either a specific version of that ESC firmware, or a requirement to, for whatever reason, to run just that specific 0.19 version of BlueJay. And yeah, you know, that's unusual. In all of the rest of FPV, right? We can update, right? This is a super DIY hobby. And this is unusual. It's unusual that we have to not update something on this specific product. And I didn't get the memo. You know, I did not get any indication that that was the case, unfortunately. And so I was the guinea pig, and now I don't get to fly it for a while until they send it back. But, you know, that's not the end of the world. I got plenty of other stuff cooking here that we can work on while we wait for that thing to come on, to work its way on back to us. So, yeah, there you go. A little bit of an update from yesterday. I'm just getting some of these propellers kind of situated. I got to get my ass over to Grayson Hobby. They have these Meteor 65 frames in stock in white. Not many people have these frames in stock in colors that I'm sort of interested in. Although I think I'm doing it. I think Tiny Whoop has them in stock, and I do have a couple of items. Yeah, I want to get that Whoop V from Tiny Whoop. I want to get some of the short cable 450 mAh 2S BT 2.0 batteries. Yeah, I want to try this Nimble 65 PP frame. And oh yeah, I want to try these new HQ quad blades as well. Was it? Hold on. Oh, they do. Yeah. I forgot they do have it. Yeah. Oh, wait, didn't they not? No, they have it in translucent. That's what I want. I want it in translucent. That's right. What other colors do they have? That pink is kind of ugly. The red is kind of ugly, too. Beta FPV uses their colors are weird, man. Like, what is this green? Like, I kind of dig seafoam green, but this isn't quite seafoam green. And then it just doesn't match anything. What is this blue? Why is it like this? I mean, this is kind of the color in their logo, so I kind of get the blue. But like, why is it? It's too light. Look at this. This yellow is weird. What? Why is that so? They just. Why is that pink so light? Dark. Make it darker pink. You know what I mean? Like, why is this red so orange? Why is this orange so yellow? Why is this yellow so pale? I don't know. Now I'm just throwing stones at this point. Am I wrong, though? Am I wrong? Or Beta FPV's colors are ugly as shit. Right? Look at this. Isn't there a... don't they have like a picture with all the colors in it? Hold on. Yeah. What is it? Like... What are these colors? Ugh. What is that? Look at this purple. That's not purple. What is that? That's like lavender. Who wants a lavender frame? Ugh. That's not even the right yellow. Why is this red so what is happening? Is it just me? It's probably just me. It's just me, isn't it? No, it's okay. In the chat, every day with Bruno was first. RC Thrills, Doubles FPV, Alley Cat, Craig, Frank, Nicholas, Ray's FPV, Capital C, Douglas 6, Brent Anderson, Islander, Chris Mel, El Chingon, Smoking Dog Cujo, Islander FPV, Chris Mel, Brent Anderson, Sober Life, Craig again, Decapica, I haven't seen you in a while. How you been, man? Benny Bravo, Fizz PV rather, Jake FPV, Brent Anderson, Morton Upshot, Sebi D, Andrew Taylor, Brian Kirk. What's up, fuckers? Craig, if you want to talk directly to me in the chat, just type CiottiFPV. It'll light up an orange for me. You can do that with each other. If you want to get somebody's attention, type their name and spell it right, and it will light up an orange. This is what CiottiFPV.com looks like. These are the buttons that you need to click for me to keep doing this, or else I will stop breathing. Live stream schedule here. Patreon helps me out the most. The only way that I can do this as often and as good as I do this is because you all support me, and that means a lot, and that is super cool. But I do need you to, A, continue to support me, and or those of you that aren't supporting me yet, hook a brother up. Give me 10 cents a day. 10 pennies every single day, and I'll keep doing this. Do that over on Patreon. Join the $3 a month general admission tier. If you're on the $3 a month tier, it's only $2 more. That's like 7 cents a day. To go up to the $5 a month tier, and eventually you'll win the Tiny Whoop giveaway, and you'll get like $40 or $50 worth of stuff. Do the math, bro, or broette. $2 a month, and then $40 or $50 worth of stuff for free. It's gonna pay for a lot of months, and I can keep doing this and keep saving you money. I think the biggest way that I help out is telling you what not to buy. If I'm really honest, which is like, I would have killed for someone to tell me what not to buy when I was figuring all this shit out, you know, by buying it and building it and watching it catch on fire and burn to the ground, or just perform like, just, you know, generally perform like shit. So yeah, man, help a brother out. Go to CiottiFPV, click some buttons. Patreon helps me the most. There's also an Etsy store, which I added a ton of stuff to last week, so definitely check that out. There's all kinds of new stuff in there. Buy a sticker along with the other stuff that you buy. I got tons of stickers. They're a great little moneymaker for me. And then you get to show your pride, and you got something cool. There's a Teespring with really cool shirts like this one with Clam Man on it, reminding you to never give up. There is a PayPal link if you want to support me, but you don't want to do a super chat because you know Beta FPV. You know YouTube is going to take 30%. A link to my Discord where all the fun things are happening. Searchable live stream transcripts thanks to Craig. Super handy website here where you can literally search. And it'll, if I have set, like, right now I'm gonna say Ali Ali Oxenfree. A couple days from now, you'll be able to search for Ali Ali Oxenfree, and it'll find this live stream. It's super slick. And then lots of affiliate links. Change your bookmarks to affiliate links, yo. If you don't, everyone will expire. Amazon Get FPV, Pyro Drone, Race Day Quads, Newbie Drone, We Believe FPV, Beta FPV, FPV Cycle, Hasingi, Oh My God, Brain 3D, HD0, Flywoo, Max, Mangood, Camera Brother, AliExpress. That's how you support me, friends. There's some other fun stuff at the bottom here you might get a kick out of. That's how you support me, boys and girls. If you support me, I'll support you, and we'll support each other, and then we'll be supported. Islander FPV says, just got my Meteor 65 Pro rig in the air with 40,000 kV, 1.5mm shaft motors, and the new HQ trim blades. It only gained 0.9 grams from the 1.2-inch prop setup, and it's the floatiest whoop drone yet. Thanks for coming along with me on the journey of calling Tiny Whoops whoop drones. Shout out to Beta FPV for being the originator of whoop drone. It's just terrific. Thank you for the reminder to weigh this shit. the 1.2 inch build that we're going to convert, oh, it's a fatty. It's 18.45 grams. 18.45 is what we're going to swap frames. We're going to go from the Cockroach V3 frame to the Meteor 65 Pro frame. We're going to have to use longer motor mounting hardware because the mount base is standard on these Beta FPV frames. So we're going to gain a little bit of weight in the screws themselves. The frame is a little bit heavier, and that's really it. The Cockroach 65 V3 frame is hysterically durable. I don't think this Meteor 65 Pro frame is going to be anywhere near as durable. But they've been fine so far, so you never know. Let's do this. I'm gonna grab the motors and the props. We're gonna get some weights going on here. Somebody type some of these weights into the chat, please. Whatever that weight was a second ago, type that into the chat, if you don't mind, so that there's a record of it. So these are the motors that I'm putting on. Might as well use the screws they come with. And so Meteor 65 Pro frame, set of the Happy Model motors, propellers that we're gonna use. 9.97, call it 10 grams. 10 grams right on the nose. Cockroach 65 V3 frame, same Happy Model motors, bi-blade propellers. The propellers that I like the most. So we're going from 10 grams on the Meteor 65 Pro setup to 9.7 grams. Wow. That is really close. How the hell is that possible? Is it the frame? Is the Meteor 65 Pro frame really that much not heavier? It's the worst possible way I could structure that sentence. Hold on. Cockroach 65 V3 frame. Hopefully this isn't a prototype. I don't think this is a prototype. Cockroach 65 V3 frame. Hold on. 2.91 grams. Meteor 65 Pro. 3.26. 3.26 versus 2.9. I'll be damned. That's ridiculous that these two frames are that close in weight. But again, Cockroach 65 V3, ridiculously durable. Meteor 65 Pro, a question mark. I haven't broken one of these yet. I haven't flown more than a couple batteries on them, but I haven't broken one of these yet. So maybe it's magical. The regular, well, you know, this is not an Air frame. This is a Meteor 65 frame, right? The original Meteor 65 frame was outrageously durable. The Air 65 frame is not durable at all. This is a Meteor 65 Pro frame. It's really light, though. I'm staggered at how light this frame is for not being an Air frame. Something that they did in the Air frame really affected its durability. You know what I'm noticing? So these two on the Meteor 65 Pro frames, I've crashed these a good amount. They are not getting that crease that the Air 65 frame gets right here. Maybe I just haven't crashed them enough. But on those Air 65 frames, boy, I get that little crease early. Like, that happens in like a few batteries sometimes. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to complain. I would fucking love this combination to be like kind of a magical, really cool freestyle build that is a little bit slower when you fly it in the house because of the bigger props and roughly the same weight. You know, like I've been really, really, really happy with how these things fly. Also, it would be cool for this build to be what you do with the AIOs that you have that are smaller, right? Your your Matrix AI, your Beta FPV Matrix AIO, the Air AIO, the old school Beta FPV AIO, the the Mobula 6 2024 AIO, the Hummingbird AIO, right? These lightweight, cut down AIOs are the only ones that'll work in this frame, and that's really cool, right? Like, you've got one of those AIOs, they're not as durable as the 2G4, but you can put them in this. And so, you know, it would be like awesome. It's looking like, I have a feeling what's happening here is that, like, if you want a great indoor flying tiny whoop with total durability, Cockroach 65 V3 frame, 2G4 from Weebleed, whatever the hell motors you want, whatever props you want, and there is not a thing wrong with that build. That is just so much fun. And then if you want to, you know, but that's like our old school build, you know what I mean? That's like OG cool, like high 17, low 18 gram, ultimate freestyle tiny whoop as far as I'm concerned, right? Like, that is the ultimate freestyle tiny whoop build. This is like something cool and new and different, and I dig that, you know? And so should you. I don't know why I got so serious there, but why so serious? I don't know what's happening, man. This is a weird life. It's a weird time to be alive, man. Weird fucking everything. Everything's weird, man. Everything's weird. Nothing makes any sense. Everything's weird. Sober Life says, what's up? Craig says, has anyone tried 3D printing 65 or 75 millimeter whoop frames? Yes. There was actually an entire company that really worked hard to do that, called R3D. Red Shift. It was R3D Shifters? Red Shifters? R3D FPV. I don't think their website is up anymore. So I will almost certainly have done a live stream about them at some point. R3D. Yeah, Red Shifters. R3D Shifters. I went in pretty hard on them because they had the camera up front in between the ducts, and I was desperate for that. And so I spent a shitload of time, looks like 4 years ago, trying to make Red Shifters whoop builds work. Yeah, here's 4 live streams. Red Shifters V2, Red Shifters whoop builds, Whoop Wednesday Red Shifters 2S whoop build, Red Shifters Muon 65 build. Oh, here's another one. Giveaways and Q&A, Red Shifters Tiny Whoop build. Yeah, their frames were really cool, man. They really did a super interesting job at designing the frames and the canopies and whatnot, but you can't, 3D printing just doesn't work. It's just not strong enough. Like the molded frames, they're just better. It's just, you know, it's obviously and there've been people that have 3D printed, like, you know, scan this frame in and 3D print it, and it's just not, you know, TPU is too floppy, and then like the PLAs are too brittle, and so there's not a great material. I mean, I guess you could maybe argue that, like, you could play around with the lower, I forget how durometer works. I forget if a lower durometer number means it's less gooey or more gooey, but like you could maybe, there are different durometers. Durometer is a measure of hardness. And there are different durometer TPUs available. The standard durometer, I think, is... How many times can I say durometer? The standard... we used to call it duro in the skateboarding world. The standard duro for TPU is, I want to say 95A. And I think I've seen some 87, which is either stiffer or less stiff. That's what she said. And so that might be a little bit better. Maybe that wasn't around back in Redshifter's day. I'll bet you it was. But you never know. So, yeah, there's that, which is interesting. If you're into that sort of thing. What am I saying? I'm getting some motor screws going here. I got 3. I got 6. I got 8. How to count with CiottiFPV. Remember the count? How beautiful is it that the count taught kids how to count? Who can you imagine you work for Sesame Street and you're and somebody's like, "Man, we need a character that, like, one of the big things he does is teach kids how to count." Who went, "Yo, it'll be a count, and we'll call him the Count because he'll be a count"? Like, can you imagine that moment in time? I would just jump off. I would climb to the roof of the building and just jump right off, because, I mean, that's it. It's all downhill from there. Not a single idea or anything that you're ever going to have is going to be as beautiful and perfect as that. That's it. That's the peak. Just end it all, friend. I hope they didn't. I hope they actually didn't jump off the roof, and it's just this, like, horrible, tragic story that I'm not really making fun of, but, you know. Let's get some motors bolted in while I read through the live chat. Soberlife FPV says, "I just got the Tiny Whoop Project Topspin Gorilla Whoop Edition 0802s. I love them. Very cool. What KV are those? I don't think I know those motors." Ah! So they're 802s, huh? What build do you have those on as well? Fair warning, if you answer these questions and I don't like your answers, I might shit on your build. But guess what? You'll be all right. You'll be fine. I'm just a strange man on the... Never forget, I'm just a strange man on the internet. And an even stranger man in person. Decapicow says, "I have a brand new X12. Out of the box, it seems to have the VTX stuck on low power. I can change channels fine. Is there anything I should try, or did I get a bad happy model RNG?" Nope, you got the weirdest RNG ever. Every once in a while, there's this weird thing that happens in beta flight where this, like, oddly hidden thing turns on. I'm just gonna show you because it's super stupid. It's just the stupidest thing in all the stupids. But it's something that we all have to deal with every once in a while. So here's how you fix it. This is the CAC firmware, so it's going to be all weird. Let's just do this on a regular rig. So here's what you do. Hopefully this is the problem. This is almost always the problem in the scenario that you're talking about. Yaw left pitch forward at the same time on your transmitter. center the left stick, and it's like that. Yaw left, pitch forward, same time, bang. That puts you into this menu here. And then you're going to use the right stick to go up and down, and you're going to go to Features, VTX, and then you're going to go to Config. See this weird config, and it has the arrow off to the right? You go in here, and you see this OP model. This is probably on race. You don't want it on race. You want it on free. It's a super weird little thing. So change it to free. If it's on race, change it to free. If it's on free, change it to race and see if that helps. But change the OP model, and then left stick to the right, which is basically yawing to the right, and then save and exit. Right stick down to save and exit, right stick to the right, save and exit. And now that should have fixed that problem. If that doesn't fix the problem, then you've got a VTX table issue, which is significantly more annoying. To be honest, in that scenario, message Happy Model and explain the problem, and they will get back to you and be like, here's the correct VTX table. Tell them that you asked Ciotti, and he had you try a couple things. They know me over there. And maybe don't tell them that I helped you. No, tell them that I helped you out, and then I think it's a VTX table problem, and they'll hook you up. They're good like that over there. I told them to be good to you guys. Benny Bravo says, how significant is an 802 in comparison to 0702 in terms of power? Can I make a 75 millimeter out of 0702? I can almost guarantee you that there is not a 1.6 inch propeller out there that is going to be light enough and non-draggy enough that an 0702 motor will work. Will work well. It'll work. You could absolutely do that build, but the response time is going to blow goats. And it's just not going to perform all that well. The 802 is absolutely the right motor for 1.6 inch props, which are what's on 75 millimeter motor to motor builds. So yeah, don't do it. There is a massive difference between 702s and 802s. I know it doesn't seem like it, but think of it in terms of percentages, and that'll help you kind of understand it. You know, what's the percent change between 7 millimeters and 8 millimeters? It's like 12 or 13%, right? That's huge. Blow that up to a 5-inch motor, and imagine that same change. This one screw is getting really tight towards the bottom. I think maybe there was just like a booger on the motor threads that I've now pushed right through. Yeah, it looks fine. You know, what's a 20, like, so like a 2306, right? 23, blow that up by 12%. 100, 23, 12%, so 12, 6, 12, 20, 23, 6, 3. So that would be like going from a 2306 to a 2606. That's a huge change, right? Like, we go from 2306 to 2207, and it's a really noticeable change. Imagine going up to a 26. It would be you'd be going to a 2606, you wouldn't be going to a 2607, but still, like, just imagine a 2606 versus a 2306. That'd be a huge difference, right? That's the same percentage change, if I'm doing the math right, which I very well might not be, from an 0702 to an 0802. One of the biggest lessons in Tiny Whoop is that seemingly small changes in pitch or propeller size or motor size are actually much bigger changes. It just doesn't seem like it because the numbers are so small. You know, like a change of 1 millimeter, you're like, what's 1 millimeter? That's like nothing. But if the thing is only a few millimeters, it's not nothing. So this, every once in a while, you'll get a happy model motor where the threads in the motor are buggered. I'm so happy that A, I just had the opportunity to say buggered, and B, I remembered to say buggered. I, being an absolute crazy person, at some I have a so it's this bottom left screw hole. I have a reamer. I have a tiny little M 1.2 reamer somewhere in here. Let me just find it real quick and see if I can repair this motor. I wouldn't really recommend that you get a reamer because it doesn't really work. Not a reamer. It's not a reamer. It's a oh, you big dumb man, you. It's a one of the things that puts threads in things. A thread maker. A threader. Was it this motor? Was it this screw hole? I think it was. A thread. I got a thread maker here. And I'm going to put it into the pin vise. And then I'm going to run it down this little bastard. Yikes. Yarr. Why is it so loose in there? What's hold on. Let's see. So here's a properly threaded hole. Yeah, it's fine in the properly threaded hole. Here's the hole that's giving me problems. Oh, it ain't fine. It does not want to go in there. Okay, now there it goes. There it goes. There it goes. I do need to have a better grip on it though, so I'm going to put it into this pin vise really quick. Very similar to this, pin vices are available over on my Etsy store. If you need a way of holding your your 1.5 and or 0.99 millimeter drill bits, it's such a nice way of holding these. What the hell's going on here? How tight did I make this? Good Lord, Jim. Who's Jim? Yeah, it's a game changer, and they're double pin vices too, so you can go 1.5 on one side and 1 on the other. But for right now, I'm gonna use it for this little tap. It's a tap. That's what it is, or it could be a die. I forget if it's a die or if it's a tap. But it's one of the two. Let's see if this works. I'm gonna have to actually like look at what I'm doing here. Hold on. Arr. So it's this hole here. Yeah, the hole is just not threaded. Sometimes they send a motor out or a stator out, and there's just no threading in one of the holes. This has happened to me, I think, one other time. And I don't remember if I was able to fix it. The problem is the tap hits the windings if you put it too far in there. And like the tap tapers. And so it's like by the time you get to the good part of the tap that's putting threads in, the tip of the tap hits the winding material, and you have to stop. You can't. There's just nothing you can do at that point. And so yeah, don't buy one of these taps. It's not worth it. If this happens to you, just get in touch with whoever you bought the motors from and say, "Yo, one of these motors was not threaded. Ciotti told me to contact you because that's not cool." Well, you could probably just run them with two. Probably just run them with 2 motor screws. Don't do that though. So yeah, there we go. I tapped it. What is this one? Is this another tap? It is. Is this one any less boogery? Ooh, hold on. This one might have a less tapered snout. I feel like I might have threaded this. This might be all right. Let's find out. I don't know why I just said that like Batman, but it was all right. Tap! It is a tap! Tap! It says it right there. See, I told you. Bottoming 3 flute HSS. Here's some of the other 0.99 millimeter drill bits that I bought way back when I was trying to figure out the exact right diameter for propellers. Inner diameter for propellers. Yeah, get in there. Get over there. There we go. FizzPV says, what stand is that? You know, I don't even know. Somebody sent me 4 of these little tiny whoop stands, and they're great. They're kind of like modular, and I have no idea. I have no idea where they're from. I would love like 1 or 2 more. I haven't really looked, but yeah, if you know where these little whoop stands are, let me know. They're probably on Thingiverse. But yeah, they're really cool. They make the whoops stand up all neat like. If you sent me that, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it so much that I don't remember who you are. It's impossible. I used to beat myself up for not like when somebody would send me something, like not remembering 6 months later who sent it. And then eventually I was just like, what is the matter with you? That's an impossibility to remember everyone that sent you everything. When my brain is functioning properly and someone sends me something, I'll write their name down on it, but you know, mental health problems dictate that your brain is a piece of shit. So, you know, it working properly went out the window many years ago. Many years ago. And here we are. Let's see if I fixed it, or if I'm gonna have to open that other set of screamers up. Okay, it would help if I put the wire through the right part of the frame. This is not the screw. This is just the. This is one of the working screws. Here's the problem screw hole. Let's see if I manage to thread it. Oh boy, that screw went really far in there. Oh, I did. I'm gonna be gentle with it because it seems to only have threaded the top of the stator base, so it's not going to be as strong as the other ones that are threaded all the way through. But that absolutely snugged up on there, so that's pretty cool. So you can fix them. I just don't necessarily recommend that you fix it because, like I said just now, it's not gonna. It's very obviously not going to be as strong. When I put the screw in there, the screw went really far before it caught any actual threads. And then I was only able to get like maybe 1 turn before it snugged up. And so that's not a lot of meat. Not a lot of meat on there. Jake FPV says, a build that is for racers is going to be messed with and changed to the racers' preferences. And if that bricks the AIO, that's not going to be good. I agree. I very, very, very much agree. I love, you guys know that I love Newbie Drone, but boy, they have a tendency to make decisions that cause so much extra work for them. I feel like on like every tiny whoop that they've released, certainly not every, but like most tiny whoops that they release, they either miss something or make a decision that it just creates all this work for them, and they have to take a whole bunch of them back, and like crystal oscillator problems, and like it just all this stuff. It's and like I know that making a product is insanely difficult. Making a product with a small team is like seemingly impossible. And so, boy, do they have their work cut out for them. But Beta FPV and Happy Model figure it out. Like, this is something that feels like it's kind of, or you know what I mean? Like, it feels like it keeps happening to Newbie Drone over and over and over again. Like, has it happened to Happy Model and Beta FPV before? I'm certain of it. I can't think of anything offhand, but I'm sure of it. But it doesn't feel like it happens on every like over and over again. You know what I mean? It feels like it happens once in a blue moon, and then they come out with a bunch of stuff that's fairly solid. So yeah, I don't know. Look, I didn't pay for it, so like I'm not upset or anything like that. Like I did want to fly it some more. You know, like I want to give you guys a good review with like a bunch of batteries and a bunch of abuse to see if it holds up. Like that's sort of my job, right? And I want to do a really good job. But like, yeah, you know, I hope I don't sound like a big fucking crybaby right now with all this. But it's coming from a place of love. You know, like I love Newbie Drone as a company. They have some amazing people that work there. They have some amazing products. You know, they've helped to push FPV to where it's at today. And like I know that it costs them time and resources and people's salaries to troubleshoot all this stuff when this kind of thing happens. And so it's like, it just, you know, just hurts my soul to see them. I hope I'm not out of line in saying this, but like seemingly kind of make another mistake. I'm sure, you know, like you can't, I don't think there's any way to spin this issue into like, oh no, we did that on purpose because it makes it perform better. Like, I doubt it. I mean, maybe. What do I know? But yeah, I don't know. My gut tells me that this was a decision made out of necessity. They did something out of the ordinary, and that forced them to use a very specific version of Blue Jay, or possibly their own version. I don't know which it is, but it kind of doesn't matter which it is because we don't have like it's bricked. It's done. It's got to go. It's got to go away. Right? And so like it yeah, doesn't really matter what the problem is. And I will certainly not be the only one that this happens to. I have a feeling that we're going to see the Newbie Drone Hive Facebook group and the Tiny Whoop Facebook group light up over the next month with people making the same exact mistake that I did last night. And that, you know, that's tough. That sucks. But like, yeah, I don't know, man. The other way to kind of interpret all this is why you don't do proprietary stuff. This is why when you put a product out, you do as much stuff the same as everyone else. The argument for one of the arguments that I've heard for doing proprietary stuff is that it kind of forces people to leave stuff alone and or buy replacement parts from a trusted spot. And like, that's not wrong, but it doesn't really work in FPV, because FPV is the most DIY thing on earth. Like everything in FPV is DIY, right? And so doing this, you got a whole bunch of people that are all the way in on DIY, and then you're gonna handcuff them. And you can absolutely use the argument that newbie drone is geared for newbies, and for a newbie, they break a motor. Oh my God, look at the 50 different motor options that are out there. I don't know which one to get. I give up. Versus, I broke my newbie drone motor. It has a specific plug on it. I have to get a replacement motor from newbie drone. Look, there's 3 options. I'll keep flying these silly things because I got the right motor and I'm good to go. So like, but I don't know, man. If everything was standardized, or in fairness, newbie drone has been putting higher rated FETs, bigger FETs on their AIOs for a long time now. And I'll bet you one of the reasons they can do that is because of the smaller JST 1.0 or 1.25, whatever the hell they are, plug headers. And so, yeah, that could be a massive part of it. But yeah, it's a sticky situation, and it's a big old shit sandwich, and we all have to take a bite. No, that's not. I just wanted to say that. It's just fun to say. You guys know what I mean. You guys know what I'm getting at here. It's tough. It's a tough one. I feel bad that they're gonna get bombarded. I have a funny feeling with people that do the same thing that I did. That sucks, because the damn thing flies incredible, and I want as many people to have a big power, lightweight experience as possible, because boy, it is incredible what a tiny whoop will do in 2025 with the right setup. And the newbie drone race bind and fly setup is the most overpowered thing that I've ever flown, and it is just, it's just too cool. It's just a really, really, really cool experience. Super difficult to fly, but the possibilities and the stuff that you can do with it are just bananas. So, and I like Newbie Drone as a company. I want them to succeed, I want them to make lots of money and then put a bunch of that money back into R&D for the Cockroach V4 frame that's even lighter and or even more durable and has even bigger hookers on it so that we can put even bigger cameras onto the front. That's how that works, right? Bigger, sturdier hookers make the world go round. Oh, man, we be talking some shit. And by we, I mean me. Jake FPV. Oh, no, we got that. Nightwing's Batman. What's up, Nightwing? How the fuck are you? Sorry to anyone that doesn't like cursing. You're going to have a rough time around here, though. Morton Upshot says, are they planning to fix that ESC firmware bug? It doesn't seem like it. They just told me that I needed to send it in. And like, if you look at the crystal oscillator issue, they just told people they needed to send them in. I don't think there is a fix for it. If there was, they wouldn't have me. Maybe. I mean, I guess there could be a fix for. I don't know. I don't know anything. But they told me I need to send it in. There's nothing that I can do about it. So there's either there is a fix, but the fact that I bricked it has jacked it up. I don't think that's the case, though. I think it's just, it is what it is, because they apparently sent out this massive email to everybody that bought one saying, don't fuck with your ESC firmware. So I wouldn't think that there's a fix yet. RC Thrills says, no one wants an orchid-colored drone. Brand Anderson says, yaw you biatch. Brian Kirk says, ever try setting up a miniature Star Wars pod race course and race whoops in it? I'm not a racing guy, so I haven't done anything like that, but that's a really fun idea. Someone should totally do that. Kelvin Knudsen says, let the magic blue smoke out of a 2SAIO by hooking up 1S motors and trying to spin it. Smoke the ESC. That sucks, dude. God damn it. That super sucks. Dave S says, use a nickel to check the scale 5 grams. Don't do that. Join the Gangly Gang by jumping onto my Patreon for as little as $3 a month. And then I will let you rent from me a set of calibrated weights. I have 2 sets of, thanks to my dad actually, of calibrated weights. That one is a little bit less calibrated now. Yeah, a couple of sets of calibrated weights that you can rent from me to dial in your... You're not going to dial in your scale. You're going to figure out how off your scale is so that you can make a mental calibration. Yeah. A benefit of joining the gangliest of all the gangs. What is this? Oh, this is the Nomad box. I don't need this Nomad box here. Let's put that in the garage. Oh, God, that box was a little heavy. There might be something in there. Oh, well. Hopefully it's durable, whatever's in there. FizzPV says, and now for something completely different. Oh my God, what's that from? That's so familiar. Brian Kirk says, I had a thought of setting up dials on my Radio Master to set the motor output limit. Thought this would be good to try different values easier. So you can't do that with the motor output limit in the PIDs tab. You can do that with a throttle limit. Joshua has a video on how to do it from ages ago, and I actually did it forever ago because I hated the fact that there were the 2 dials that I never used, and so one lonely day I searched the internet for like things I could do with those dials, and lo and behold, go figure, Joshua had one video on how to set up the dials as throttle limit, and he had another video on how to set the dials up for volume, and so I did it, and my transmitters, my QX7s have always had that. Fair warning, when you set up one of your dials to be a throttle cut, an adjustable throttle cut, pretty much every single time that you use that dial to limit the throttle, you're going to forget to unlimit the throttle when you're done. And then the next time that you go to fly, you're going to spend like at least 1 or 2 batteries going, what the fuck is wrong with all my quads? Why do none of them have any goddamn power? What the hell? They were fine. This was a working rig. Or if you're just like sitting there, like basically you're not gonna use it often. The other thing that's gonna happen is you're going to be like talking to somebody or just sitting there with your transmitter, and you're just going to grab those knobs and you're just going to start like twiddling. You're going to be twiddling your knobs, and you're going to turn that knob to like its midpoint, because there's a little on the QX7, there's an indent in the middle position of the knobs. And so you're just going to be sitting there and not thinking about it, and you're going to turn that fucking knob to the middle point. And then you're going to get, this happened to me at the Tiny Whoop Open, actually, in Denver. And you're going to go fly your rig, and you're going to be like, what the fuck is going on? Is this battery dead? No, the battery's fine. What did this is the? And it's going to, I think it took me like a half a battery to realize what the hell was happening, which is pretty good. Every time it happens, the amount of time spent figuring it out shortens by a little bit. Almost done. I'm not doing this under the overhead camera because this is the least exciting build ever. I literally took one frame out and swapped another frame in. And I mean, I did swap motors, but I unplugged them and unscrewed them. You can just use your imagination and... oh, there it is. Yep, there it is. You're good. Your imagination just hooked you up. And you just pictured exactly what happened. Congratulations. HQ 1.4 by 1.1 by 3 1.5 millimeter motor shaft propellers do not need to be drilled out. They drop right down on these Happy Model 1.5 millimeter shafts with the exact, well, that one was a little tight. Literally, as I'm saying the word exact, I had to push a little too hard on this to get it down. I didn't have to push like stupid hard, but I'm still going to hit this with a 1.47 millimeter drill bit that I sell over on my Etsy store, just to make it ever so slightly, it's just to make it fit ever so slightly better. And put a little bit less stress on the motor shaft. Yeah, now that's perfect. When I run this down the drill bit, it like falls on there. Like it's removing a tiny bit of material from this propeller. So yeah, you technically don't need to drill these out, but if you have one of these drill bits, you might as well. Just to save your motors that extra little bit. And there we have it. Mobula 6 2024 converted to a 1.4 inch rig. Maybe the motors will spin the right direction. Well, I can tell you if the motors are going to spin the right direction. Here's the previous frame. Did I put the red dots in the right spots? I did, so I don't have to put this into beta flight at all. This is ready to go. I have a couple of batteries ready here, and let's see how it is. Dave S says we can print PP, I think, have some 64D TPU to try out. Morton Upshot says 87 more squishy. I thought so. Yeah, the numbers go higher and they get harder. Brian Kirk says, is the newbie drone Hummingbird Race Spec V2 okay? It is not. It is bricked. Do not change anything in the ESC settings. Well, you can change the ESC settings. Just don't change the version of BlueJay, or don't try to go from like it comes with 48. Leave it. Don't go to 24. Don't go to 96. Just leave it on 48. It's what you want anyway. Morton Upshot says Jim Henson. I wonder what that was in reference to. Sober Life says 24,000 kV 65 millimeter crown. I think I was asking him what the build is. Matrix AIO True RC Singularity, and it's running Venom biblades. The Venom biblades are cool looking, but they don't perform all that well. If you go from those to the GemFan 1210s, you'll get better performance. You'll get longer run times and more power. Venom biblades are like the old school Tiny Whoop propellers that aren't nearly as good as the newer ones. They're not bad. They're just not quite as good. Let's see how it is. This is a Weebleed battery that I'm putting in here. 300 mAh, BT 2.0, yada, yada, yada. Oh boy, this... holy hell, this battery lead is too short. Oh no, actually, wow. It is exactly long enough. Oh, look at that. That's something that other frames don't do. Oh, I didn't let it calibrate the accelerometer. Oh! I was half expecting it to rocket to the moon. Dave S says, Meteor 65 Pro is on a mint green frame. 5-in-1 AIO, C3 air canopy, HQ tri-blade, SE702, 19 grams dry weight. Nice. Oh, I gotta weigh this thing. But let's fly it first. Oh my god. I got really lucky on that. So this is now the heaviest 1.4-inch build. This is the FXT camera that comes in the Mobula 6 2020 farts. It's awful bright, man. This camera is... It's okay, but it's so bright. It is not bright down here. Like especially over here, it's relatively dark over here. It's bright back in this corner, for sure. Like, these two LED panels throw a shitload of light. But, like, this side of the room is not very bright. This FXT camera, it over-brightens stuff. Yo. Alright, so here is an example of the extra float of the 1.4-inch... Oh, you son of a bitch, you. The dive in those triple cubes, very, very obvious. Hold on. Even though this is the heaviest of these three builds, I absolutely just noticed on the little dive down this triple cube that I had a noticeable amount of extra time. Oh, shitballs. Don't you dip! You fucking bastard, you. Try this again. There he is. I was going to say, where the hell is he? Oh! One stomp. Oh! Whoa, that was the... Oh, no, that was the gate. See that dive? Do you guys notice that? Usually... Oh, my God. Usually, the dive in here is over really fast. Like, I try to kind of cheat it, and so should you. If you need more hang time, the solution is to fly low and then throw yourself up into stuff. And so I try to cheat it sometimes by coming in low to give myself more hang time. But boy, that right there, just now, that's... a lot of times I forget to come in low, and I'll come in up here, and I'll just basically drop it into that dive, you know? Like, I'm barely adding anything. And usually, it's like, drop it and get out! Like, it happens so fast normally. Maybe we'll fly a 1.6-inch rig to kind of maybe show you. But I can just tell you, I absolutely have more time. Because this is hard. This is a hard... All right, I was a little bit upset until the dog's head popped in there. How mad can I be? Teddy, don't eat it. How mad can I be when the dog's big dumb head drops down like that? Oh God, he's cornering me. Oh, Teddy. This battery's donezo. Look at that runtime, yo. So, I was a little bit worried about runtime on this build because this is heavy. This is the heaviest of these three builds. But I went with Happy Model Motors on this build, and they are extremely efficient. And that was an over 3-minute runtime, which is... I was screwing around and like turtle mode in a bunch, so we're going to run another battery for sure here. But, yeah, that's pretty cool. And the heavier builds are actually going to benefit more from the bigger prop sizes. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, these lightweight ones that I've done, like, it's really cool. And it's just... Yeah, it's awesome. But... like an 18-gram build is gonna really love having that bigger prop size for better disc loading, and so that might be why I'm noticing it so much. Let's get a weight on this. Oh, nope. We are at 19.19 grams. So yeah, 19.2 grams. That's heavy. Like if this was a 1.6 inch prop build, this would feel like a sack of hammers, tumbling out of the sky. It doesn't. It does not feel like that at all. It feels more floaty than normal 1.6 inch builds. To be honest, it kind of feels just as floaty as these other ones, but I'm about to back them, and that'll really kind of suss that out a little bit. But yeah, this flies great. I'm super happy with the way this flies. Over 3 minutes of runtime on a Weebly battery. Let's run another one. Let's run another Weebly battery. I'm going to go upstairs with it, do a bunch of full throttle up there, and I'm going to try to not crash in turtle mode as much, because when you're armed in turtle mode, it runs the timer. Kevin Smith says, taps from dies, your dad must be so embarrassed for you. Yeah. Decapicow says, no luck. This is the weird X12 with VTX and RX unit in the same UART, and it uses MSP, not smart audio. Can even change the VTX table because it gets overwritten every time on boot. Yeah, talk to Happy Model for sure. FizzPV says, I'm a 50-year-old ADHD with a touch of the tism. I completely understand. Wait, maybe I just have my goggles turned up. Oh, I got the brightness cranked way up on the goggles. Maybe that's my problem. Is it not that bright for you guys? Was it not? Oh, that's better. Okay, I had my goggles the crankness. I had the crankness brightened up too much in my goggles. Upstairs we go. So this is on the new HQ props, the 1.4 by 1.1, I think they are, by 3s. Whoo, yeah. Good power, plenty of power. Oh! Tried to cheat it. Yeah, this is nice. Oh, yeah. See how I'm bouncing up on elevation there? That means there's a lot of power. It also means that there's that the response time is not quite there. See, I'm getting used to it. What I'm used to though. Oh shit, don't go in the sink. Woo! Although I think I emptied the sink out before. Oh my god, just bombing that stairwell, bro. Hell yeah. Oh, you fuck. Yeah, with these props, they're a little heavy. We'll do some we'll get some weights on a couple of propellers, and we'll kind of talk more about that in a minute. I don't know I don't know why I thought I would be able to pull that one off. Oh shitters. Oh god, it went through the gate. Crash recovery kicked on, and it went through the gate in some weird orientation. Oh, you son of a bitch. Alright, so we're at 2 minutes. We are not going to get 3-minute run times on this thing. I mean, although I did just do like 18... Whoa, Teddy! I just did do like 18 full fucking room power loops. So like, if we're going to get low... Look at that float down through there, man. It makes this so much more realistic. Oh my god, I did not get it close enough to the ceiling. So, 2 minutes and 30 seconds runtime. That ain't bad, man. That is not bad, especially for, like, this is... If you're gonna do this build, this is the heaviest setup. This is the AIO that has motor plugs, and is just a little bit heavier. The Beta FPV Air 65 is lighter. Well, you know, no. The heaviest setup would be the Hummingbird V4. If you did this 1.4-inch conversion on a Hummingbird V4, that would be even heavier than this. It would have more power than this. But yeah, of the three that I've got, this is the heaviest. 2.5 minutes of runtime with that much full throttle that we were doing upstairs, that ain't bad, man. That's... I really like getting to 3 minutes. 3 minutes is a much better number, to be really honest. But like, my limit is 2 minutes, like less than 2 minutes, and it's just obnoxious. Like you're changing batteries kind of constantly. On an HD rig, I'll do it. I'll make the sacrifice. But like for an analog rig to only run for 2 minutes, that's silly. And that's what these 1.4-inch builds were doing previously on 802s and on 603s. And so that's why I was always like, no, you know, just don't do it. It doesn't make sense. It's really cool that we have kind of a viable setup now, for these things. To use video gaming words. Everything is either viable or not viable in video games, in terms of like setups and builds and shit like that. Or maybe that's just the world of Diablo. My favorite Diablo live streamer, Riker, used to say viable a lot. Is this build viable in 2021 or whatever the hell Diablo 3 came out? Boy, was Diablo 4 a letdown. Maybe it's better now with like patches and whatnot, but man, I got all excited. Lil Boo and I started playing it, and then we spent like a couple nights playing it, and that was it. We just stopped. We were like, no, this is not the same. I don't know. I was really, really excited. Although, like, it was almost like they didn't change enough. I don't know. On one hand, it was weirdly like they changed too much, but on the other hand, it was like they didn't change enough, and it was just like the same thing as the other one. I don't know. It was cool that there was like a horse. But, yeah, I don't know. A little too repetitive, maybe? I didn't think much about it. When Florence didn't want to play anymore, I was kind of out. I was like, you know, I bought this for for us to play. We played all the way through Diablo 3 when we first moved into this house, and we had a great time. It took us like probably about a month, and we had a blast. It was really, really, really fun to start from scratch in Diablo 3, and it was one of the first like real bonding things that that Florence and I had together. And by that point, it was already like a bunch of years old, right? Like we're only going back a couple years, but it was awesome. So this build could be lighter, for the record. This is the build. This is a Mobula 6 2024 AIO version 2 with the plugs. I put a Beta FPV BT 2.0 plug on it. Screamer, brand new 0702 32500s. These are those HQ props. The reason why this rig is a little heavy is that the UFL broke off, and I had to direct solder. I had an extra True RC ultra short singularity that the UFL had ripped off, and so I direct soldered it. And so now it's got this weirdly short True RC singularity that I have to like jankily stick out the side. But you know what? It works absolutely fine. Like there's nothing wrong with this setup here. It just looks a little silly. FXT. Other than that, it's a stock Mobula 6 2024 FXT camera. It's even the Happy Model canopy, banana hammock canopy. So that's the build, my friends. Let's go to. So if I go over to the NBD Drone Race build, it's going to be totally different. These motors make ridiculous power, and this is crazy lightweight. Let's go over to the Air 65 build, which is on motors that probably make about the same amount of power, but different propellers. We're now going to go on to these Gemfan 35S bi-blade props. And so you'll get to see that. This thing is lighter. At least a full gram lighter. And now you're also going to go from an FXT camera, which is what you were just looking at, to a CO3. This is a regular old Air 65 with a micro V. And a which has the CO3 camera in it. Everyone's favorite camera. Kelvin says the owner of NBD Drone's name is Kelvin. It is indeed. It always whenever you post, Kelvin, I have to stop for a second and think of last names. Midnight Jesus says, jealous of your ridiculously thick hair. It looks suave, my friend. Thank you, brother. Benny Bravo says, they won't do it if they watch yo shit. Ciotti for life. Thank you, dude. RC Thrill says, that math is mathing. This is full yaw. Ah, Monty Python. That's it. Yep, that's totally. And now for something completely different. Yep. Jim Henson came up with Count Dracula. Ah, that's what you were saying. Boy, the CO3 looks different. The CO3 is dark. That's why I had... Oh, God. That's why I had the brightness turned up in the goggles. My image is now a little dark. Oh, Jesus. Why did I not stop it? I just let it bang into the door. That was weird. Oh my God! Oh! All right, hold on. Crash recovery just failed like three times in a row. What the fuck is going on? What was that about? Oh my God. Jesus Christ on a cracker. Oh God, Teddy! Really? You fuck? Okay, so Gemfan bi-blades. Less power, which is probably a combination of... It's probably the motors. These are 27,000 kV beta FPV motors. On the other rig are 32,500 kV Happy Model motors. Whoo! Jesus. The key to getting down the stairs is to lock the yaw and roll in early, and then just change the throttle. Just use the throttle to turn the corners. Basically, big blasts of throttle with both 90-degree corners. The second 90-degree corner is the doorway. Oh man, I love more than anything else throwing one of these things into the air and just leaving it. And just like leaving it zero throttle and letting it just absolutely sail through the sky under its own momentum with typically like a little bit of stick input, right? Like just like a little bit of pitch forward in that case. I love that more than mayonnaise. Oh God! Tried to eat me. Can't sleep. Clowns will eat me. Oh God! Too close. Let's just completely... Oh. Let's just completely annihilate this battery. What do you say? 2 minutes and 56. So this thing gets some runtime. Not a ton of full throttle hammer balls. I'll tell you what, man. All three of these fly really, really good. These are really fun. The extra float is totally noticeable, and a bunch of you guys that have been doing these builds right along with me have also noticed that. I've talked about the extra float thing, so I've kind of put that seed into your brain, and like once it's there, it's there, and so that's not like the best barometer or whatever, but still, it's real. They are floating more. They weigh the tiniest little bit more, and the propellers are, what's the math between 1.2 and 1.4 inches? What's the percent change there? It's like 16% maybe. It's 16 to 18% more. Oh well, no, it's probably different because it's dealing with pi r squared. Yeah, I don't know how it would work out, but it's more prop area. This is the Newbie Drone race build, so now we are even lighter. With just all the power. This is the Hummingbird 3.1, so a little bit of a muddy OSD, but super light with super powerful motors. Oh my God, can you go through a gate, please? Thank you. Ask and you shall receive. Ah! Railgun? Nope. Oh my God, I didn't blip the throttle. I expected to blast the throttle, but I didn't. Oh my God, come on. Can you? Oh my God. Woo! I didn't make it through the big gate, but that was a cool looking railgun, was it not? Oh, I tried to do a wall ride between the gate and the wall, and I just barely hit the gate. Oh, come on. What the fuck? Sorry, yeah. You said it. Is this the fucking night of unrecoverable crashes? Oh my God, the shirt made me do it. Oh my God, it went through the first gate, but not the fucking second. That was ridiculous. Wow, why can I not do this fucking thing? Hold on. Why? All night I've been missing that. It's not hard. There we go. Oh boy. Well, here Plinko begins. We're at Costco today, and they're selling like a half-size version of Plinko. I almost fucking bought it. But then I remembered that I'm not a teenager dying to stay home from school just to watch Price is Right. That's all I wanted growing up, was to not go to school and watch Price is Right. This is the CAC firmware, putting up all the cool guy sayings on the screen. Teddy, you're in the firing zone. Oh my god, are you kidding? Teddy. Okay, screw you. Here it was. That desk power loop is way harder than it looks. Boy, does it look cool, though. 3 minutes and 2 seconds for the newbie drone rig. So these are all getting roughly the same kind of flight time. When it really depends on how hard I'm flying them. I feel like it. I feel like with these rigs, I could totally be wrong, but it seems like how hard I fly it has a bigger impact on the runtime with these. Maybe because we're approaching the limits of these motors, and when I fly these things really hard, the motors do start to get hot, and that really grenades the efficiency. That would make a lot of sense and I'm just gonna kind of say that's what's going on here. I'm probably right. It doesn't feel like that. I don't get the feeling that the motors are getting too hot. But something's going on. You know, like I had that one we're back to the Mobula 6 2024 rig, by the way. You know, I had the one battery on this rig that was 3 minutes, and then the next battery was 2.5 minutes. And so, and on a normal 1.6 rig, there's not that much of a difference between in runtime between flying it hard and not flying it hard. Teddy Spaghetti, you are a fart. And I love you. Oh, man, I really tried to cheat that one and just pick it right up off the ground. Oh, God, I haven't hit one of those in a while. I moved this circle gate closer to the wall here. It used to be like, well, you can see. It used to be hanging from these two little clips. Now that I moved it closer to the wall, it makes hitting these two gates a lot harder. But apparently still doable. I've been missing this for a while. See, like the sim rig is kind of in the way. It's way easier to do it this way now. It's just that landing. It tends to come down on top of the sim rig. Ooh, you know what I haven't really done with these is dial in the throttle expo. Let me do that. 25. I wasn't looking at where I was going. 27, 31. Oh my god, I gotta watch where I'm going at least a little bit, I guess. Oh, you fucking bastard, you. There we go. 28. 25. 26, 25. I'm gonna go with 27. Profile. Rate. 33 is going to come down to 27. The amount, oh wow, it's got a lot of throttle expo on it. Whenever you dial that in, you now have to do it again. 25, 31, 30. Yeah, see, it's too low at 27 now. Especially when it was, if you don't have any throttle expo added in, you probably won't have to do this twice. But if you have a bunch of throttle and the midpoint is wrong, you're almost certainly going to have to go in there and adjust it twice like that. Oh, God, that feels better. 27, 30. That's it. Well, that was weird. Why did I get so off kilter there? Ooh. Oh my God, I can't believe I got that out of there. That was just luck. Woo! Shit! Why have I never thought to do that before? Figure 8 and then... Oh boy, if I can get good at that. And then drop it back down through that gap. I don't think I'll be able to. What if I do it this way? Oh, I think if I do it this way, I'll have a better chance at it. So like run it through here. Yeah, doing it this way. Get. Jesus. There it is. Oh, I don't have air mode set up on a switch on this one. 3 minutes and 6 seconds. There you go. So yeah, the run times are very similar between these. If you fly it in a big ass open space like upstairs here, you're gonna get 2 minutes and some odd seconds of runtime. If you fly it in a smaller space, you're gonna get 3 minutes of runtime. This is a blast. I am all about these. I'm super impressed with these builds. These new propellers, these new 1.4-inch propellers are awesome. Very, very cool stuff. And the HQ props are they're okay on here. I don't. I think maybe on I think these Happy Model. Well, let's see. Do I have any specs on the actual KVs between these motors? One of the perks to joining my Patreon for as little as $3 a month, which is only 10 cents a day, is on Patreon. There's links to a whole bunch of really good stuff. One of the nicest things that there's a link to is a Google Doc called CiottiFPV Tiny Whoop Data. In there's a bunch of tabs with shitloads of really good stuff. And one of the things in there that I tested is the KVs on a bunch of these different motors. And I just happen to have these exact two motors in here. So the with the same KV testing methodology, or just method, by testing the same way, the Beta FPV 0702 27,000s on here are actually 29,750 kV. The 32,500 kV Happy Model motors on here are 30,250 kV. So a difference of 500 kV, which is practically nothing. But I do kind of maybe feel like it could be the props. It's hard to compare these two. This guy with the Beta Air 65, even though it's lighter, it feels like it has less power than this guy on the HQ props. That could totally be that these HQ tri-blades are making more power. At some point here, I should have left this on the tri-blades. It was stupid to move this back to the bi-blades. That was silly. But at some point, I'll put these both, or will I? I guess I don't need to do that. This with the 1.5. This. Who knows what that is? This is a 2010 Acura NSX. Here's a little bit of inside baseball for you. Doug DeMuro, Acura NSX. This, oh God, no. Whew.
The goal was to compete.
Oh, for Christ's sakes, YouTube.
Is a 2005.
This is my cousin Andrea / my Uncle Vince's Acura NSX. My Uncle Vince bought this car new in 2005 and had it down in Florida for this car's entire life. And then when we lost him, my cousin Andrea took the car out to California, and she drove it around a good amount as like a cool remembrance of her dad. But these are nowadays, this generation of NSX is worth between $80,000 and $100,000. And Andrea is into cars a little bit, and she knew that, and she couldn't get over that. She could, like, everywhere she drove it, she was nervous as hell because she's driving around something that's incredibly expensive, specifically because it's original. You know, getting into an accident with this car as all original, even though insurance will cover it, they will not cover the amount of value that this thing loses from having been in an accident. And she just, I wouldn't be able to get over it either. And she just kind of couldn't get over that. And so she listed the car on Doug's website. What the hell is it called? Cars and Bids. So if you don't know the story, Doug DeMuro started this YouTube channel reviewing cars, and he did it like super low budget and like made a lot of really good choices, did great thumbnails, and his channel absolutely blew up. 4.97 million subscribers. This particular video has 746,000 views. His success on YouTube allowed him to make this website, Cars and Bids, similar to Bring a Trailer, similar to whatever, car auction websites. But Cars and Bids is a little bit more focused on like higher end, kind of more unique, enthusiast sort of cars. And so Andrea just had heard of Cars and Bids, and she listed the car. Well, Doug saw it, contacted her because it was single family owned since 2008. And he said, "Hey, can I do a video of your car? It'll give you even more visibility and whatnot." And so he did. And Andrea sold the car for $80,000, which is $88,000 actually. Which is actually a little bit low. If she'd sold it on the private market, she could have probably gotten 6 figures for it. But selling it through Cars and Bids made it a lot easier. And yeah, it is immortalized here forever on YouTube, which is pretty cool. And yeah, Doug did like a full review, interior, exterior, drive it a little bit usually. Yep, drive it around a little bit. But yeah, this was my cousin Andrea's, and prior to him, my Uncle Vince's Acura NSX. Weird little bit of inside baseball there. I had no idea until I went and visited her a few weekends ago. I asked about the NSX, and she mentioned that she sold it on Cars and Bids. And I was like, "Oh, that's Doug DeMuro's website, right?" And she's like, "How do you know Doug?" And I just, like, I'm into cars, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, "Yeah, well, I got to meet him. He did like a whole video in the car." I'm like, "Get the fuck out of here." Like on his YouTube channel, she's like, "Yeah." I was like, "You're kidding." And she pulled it up. I'm like, holy shit. Like that car is internet famous. That's like 40-some thousand views, right? Like how many videos of people's cars get that many views? So yeah, it was kind of cool. Go, doggy, go! Leave me alone for a minute. I got to get caught up on chat, and then we're going to shut this mother down. I do have one more battery. If there's a question that's going to take me a minute to talk through, I'll fly this last battery. Sober Life FPV says, I also have those same red props you were holding. Very cool. Morton Upshot says, Jim Henson was the Muppet Man responsible for the count. I love it. Yamasaur says, of course he is, because he did all the Sesame Street magic. Yamasaur says, can you do the intermediate IGAO challenge this week? Half Matty pendulum through a doorway, then Jesus Christ. 540 half Matty, having a lot of trouble with it. You got to remind me on Wednesday, and I'll give it a shot, but it sounds like another one that I won't be able to do. Raised FPV says, can you explain disc loading? If you Google it, you'll get a super in-depth explanation, but the basics are, it's the ratio of the weight of the craft to the size of the propellers. And so, like, I forget what high disc loading and low disc loading are, but basically, like a 3-inch toothpick has a massive propeller area and not a lot of weight. And so it's super floaty. You chop the throttle at 100 feet, it takes forever to get to the ground. And so it's that ratio. Disc loading is that ratio. And so high versus low disc loading has a lot to do with the float, what we talk about as the float of a build. That's basically what kind of, changes the float. Fizz PV says, how do you like the Pico patch? I've been using this Menace RC Pico for probably like 8 or 9 years. It's been awesome. It's Menace RC makes some great stuff. I bought it because it was purple, but all patches are amazing if you use them right. If you keep your head pointed towards the quad, pretty much all patches are going to work awesome. You Can FPV says 65 Pro float is real. Makes me want a 75 for outside now. This thing does way better than my 65s do. Apache Smoke says, yo, what's up? Brent Anderson says, the float is no joke. Cool, but there's yet another aspect, that slow motion control as you're floating through it. I don't like too much float, but inside the house, more float is better because it gives you way more time to do this off throttle stuff. So that's why I spent so much time on 1.6 inch prop 75 millimeter motor to motor builds a couple of years ago, because I was just desperate for a little bit more float inside. RC Thrills says, do you know why Newbie Drone is still using the PH 2.0 yet the race spec is using A30? Apparently they're releasing some new connector. What do you know? I don't know anything about a new connector, but I'll bet you they're still using PH 2.0 because they've got a ton of the Nitro Nectar Gold batteries which have PH 2.0s. And they sent me the gold-plated PH 2.0, and on a fresh Nitro Nectar Gold, it was not that bad. This is going back a few years, but yeah, PH 2.0 is the sooner it disappears forever, the better. In fairness. RC Thrills also says, do you know what? Oh no, we got that. Stuff with Caleb says, Newbie Drone 30 kV good. Have you compared them to Beta and Tiny Whoop? I have quite a bit. Newbie Drone 30,000 kV motors make out unbelievable amounts of power. They're not super efficient, but good God, do they make serious power. They're closer to, like, they perform. So in the same testing that I did, they turned 32,000 kV the way that I was testing kV on them, compared to Beta FPV 702 27,000s, which turns 29,000 kV 750, and Happy Model 0702 32,500s, which turned 30,250 kV. So even though the Beta FPV motors say 30,000 kV on them, the way that I was testing kV, and the way that they perform, they make a lot more power than they're stated. I believe in Rosser's second or third round of Tiny Whoop motor testing, where he actually tested motors that people use. I believe they made like the second or third most power than all of the other 702s. I think the only other 702s that made more power were the RCN Powers and the 40,000 kV Weebleeds. So, yeah, the Beta FPV 30,000 kV 702s make tons of power. The problem with them is they come with a non-standard motor plug. So you're either going to have to change the motor plugs, son of a bitch, or you're going to run them on a Newbie Drone AIO that has the smaller, kind of more specific motor plugs on it. Woo! That's stop, bro. This is the Beta FPV rig again. I'm trying to see if this really does have less power or if I'm just high on dope. Nah, this still has plenty of power. Or does it? I don't know. A second ago, it felt like it had tons of power, and then I did that big power loop, and it felt like it didn't have enough. If you ever wondered what it would be like to fall down the stairs, I hope that I've helped you with that. Ah! Oh god. What a save. That save brought to you by Crash Recovery. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it! Come on now. Why is that happening? Hello, small dog. What has happened to this tiny whoop? It's as if one of the motors has started spinning the wrong direction, which doesn't make any sense. I bet you now it'll be totally fine, though. Yep, of course. Stop! Hey! No! What are you doing? Teddy! Oh my god, bro! Teddy, stop it! Teddy! Stop it! Teddy! Stop it! Teddy! No! I know, buddy. I know. It's hard. You got a really hard life. There's like people and... Stop it! The grumpiness. I know. I know. You got a hard life, bro. You don't have to work. You just sit around all day. You shit in the yard. Stuff with Caleb says, thoughts on the new Hummingbird, worth the money. I have an entire live stream about it. With everything you've ever wanted to know. Here's a life hack. Teddy, stay down here. Stay here. Come here. Come here now. Good boy. Good boy. Very good boy. You can go to somebody's channel and there's a little magnifying glass. Click it and then search for, in this case, Hummingbird V. What's it? 4, I guess? Yeah, Hummingbird V4. So there you go. Setup, tuning, updating, and flying. This is a good one. And then Hummingbird V4 versus Mobula 6 2024 versus Beta FPV Air 65. These will tell you everything you need to know. Although here's another one. Tuning and prop shootout. I used a bunch of different props. Well, here's another one. Jesus. I've tested the shit out of the Hummingbird V4. Back when I had long hair. So yeah, there you go. 4 live streams that'll teach you everything you need to know. And not all, but most of my live streams have timestamps thanks to Apache Smoke, Wounded Sniper, and Quadbod. So you can literally just come right here through the timestamps. This is the full timestamps. I then add them to the description, and I have to chop them down a little bit because I have a limit, a text limit in the in the description field here, and so I abbreviate them a little bit, and then they're also in the timeline here, but I'm not going to play a 2-minute commercial. So yeah, lots of info on the Hummingbird V4. The long and short of it is that it's pretty good, but it's not like the end all be all. There are some things about it that are not. There's some things about it that are just like annoying. Namely, that they use specific motor plugs. But yeah, lots of good info in there. If you're thinking about buying one, it's worth it to look through that. Watch through at least one of those videos, because I hit a lot of points that are gonna help you make that decision. That's kind of what I do. BMF Spade says, turned my first newbie drone Race Spec 3.1 that my dog chewed on and ruined a motor I built into a 65 Pro build, like soldering new motors, and it wasn't too bad. Nice. Love that. FPV says, newbie drone said the new connector is better than BT 2.0 and backwards compatible with PH 2.0. That's interesting. That's super interesting. Stuff with Caleb says, sorry, the new Race V2. I did a live stream literally yesterday about it. Check it out. We talked about it. I even bricked it at the end of the live stream. It was great. The long and short is that it's just as good as the previous Race, which is insane for racing. It's not really for freestyle, I don't think, but for super hardcore racing, there's nothing better. It is the lightest and the most powerful, and it's just insane. Drones and FPV with the last comment of the live stream. It says, I finish up a 3.5 and just realized the only ELRS receiver I have has the ceramic antenna. Is it worth putting on, or should I get one with a normal antenna? The problem with a 3.5-inch build using a ceramic antennaed ELRS receiver is that that's probably a carbon fiber framed build. And so that means that you're going to have that ceramic antenna inside of carbon fiber, and carbon fiber blocks RF really, really, really well. So you're going to get pretty shit range unless you put the receiver like on the outside of the frame, which is kind of sketchy because you're going to bash the shit out of it. So yeah, you should wait for another receiver that you can run a little mini Mortal T antenna out the back. You're going to get way, way, way better range with that setup. In the interim, if you just want to get it up in the air and you can find a spot on the top plate to put that receiver, it'll be okay. It's still not going to get nearly the range of a proper antenna, but it'll be way better than putting that thing inside of carbon fiber. So yeah, there you go. Thanks for hanging, friends. CiottiFPV.com to support me if you like this and you would like to see it continue. If there are things in the world that you like and you don't want them to go away, you got to support them. You got to give either your time or your money or both. CiottiFPV.com has a bunch of ways that you can give a couple of bucks here and there. You can give your time by hanging out in the chat, leaving a comment, all that shit. Keep doing what you're doing, and I'll keep doing what I'm doing. Cool? Love you guys. I'll see you on Wednesday. We'll do some more fun stuff. Here's a little bit more 04 drift car chasing in 1080, 120 frames a second. Love you, bye! I am ready.